Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we discuss the classic Quantum Leap series starring Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. Today, we're going to be discussing the episode A Song for the Soul. It is episode 15 in the fourth season. And and as usual, I have this wonderful panel of gentlemen here, of industry experts. First of all, you probably know him by now. We have Ro from the Sacrif Podcast. Ro is a broadcast news veteran. He is also a podcaster, has his own network of podcasters, and you can listen to his podcast even if you're on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you look, it's there. The Sacrif Podcast, and I highly recommend it. How's it going, Ro?
It's going fantastic. Good to be here.
Oh, we did the motorboating with your mic. It didn't work. I tried to do it the other way, and it didn't help me.
I'll come back out and then come back in.
Now it's like a tradition.
Script.
So yeah, I'll introduce Script in the meantime, which you know, but I'll introduce him anyways. So anybody new that's listening, Script is a veteran screenwriter. He teaches screenwriting on his own Patreon. He also has his own show on his YouTube channel called Scripts on Saturdays. And on Scripts on Saturdays, what he does is he and a guest, they analyze the screenplay that either has been greenlit by a major studio or has been considered at some point to be greenlit by a major studio. These are movies that are on this kind of list that the industry pays attention to. And he analyzes the screenplays and really dissects it. And it's a really cool show if you haven't heard it yet. Highly recommend that as well. How's it going, Script?
It's going well. Happy to be here. I was upset I missed last week's episode, but I was just stuck elsewhere. I could not get out of it. But I'm happy to be here tonight with you gentlemen and everyone out there in the chat to talk about the Davets.
Well, first of all, that happens. Life happens, you know. There have been a few times that Ro had to take over and help me with the stream because I couldn't make it in time, and sometimes that happens. So that's cool. But this episode today that we have is an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
Talk
I really
again,
enjoyed
Ro?
it.
Yeah, he's roboting again. Son of a gun.
Why? Pourquoi?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Get it.
We don't know, man. I don't know what you have to do, but it's something that's weird.
He was perfectly fine in the back in the green room.
Perfectly fine. It was 100%, and then we did the music. The music has a negative effect on Ro.
I don't get it. See, this is why technology is never going to take over the world, because they come up with these bug errors that shouldn't exist, and yet they do.
I feel like maybe some people didn't get a notification for the stream today, and I apologize for that. I think that the people that are here now, they just know there's a stream. I usually I post it earlier, and that actually matters. So thank you for the people that came. I agree. I appreciate it. Ro, how's it going?
It's going good. Let's see if I'm still roboting.
No,
You're
now
not.
you sound cool now.
So
yeah.
you know what I did? I turned off noise cancellation before you get into the into this screen.
Oh,
Okay.
So or echo cancellation. So maybe it's having trouble processing that plugin or function.
Ron Donofero says it's okay. Most of the cool people are here.
Yes.
Yeah, no, totally. Just taking some responsibility. I'll try to do better next time. I like to do better. In any case, this week we have this episode, which again, it's one of those rare ones that he leaps into a woman. They exist, but they don't do it every second, and I'm really happy that they don't do it every second. When they do, they try to choose something that's kind of quirky and makes it kind of fun. I think that this episode was a good one. If you wanted to make him a woman, this is kind of funny because it's so out of left field.
And I read that this is the only time that he leaps into a black woman.
yep.
And I really enjoyed this episode. We'll talk about it in a few minutes, but I really liked it.
Yes, he leaps into a black woman and a Tyler Perry type of story, which predates Tyler Perry, which is interesting.
Totally. It really is kind of offbeat because, well, I guess every episode of this show feels different, and that's what makes this show so unique, and why I think I like it so much is that, yes, they have to follow the fact that he leaps in and he does something, but the fact that they're able to take him on so many of these journeys in different places, and we're always there for the ride, and we always just accept, okay, now he's in a kind of like the Supremes type of band, and
Mhm.
now he's there, and we're like, okay, you know what I mean? Like we just believe it. Whatever they tell us, we're like, of course he's now like a teenage black girl singing in a band, and nobody even questions it.
You know
But
what's funny when he pops into a female character, I think in the past it's a little jarring to me. This one for some reason wasn't, and I don't know why. I don't know if I was really captivated by the story, captivated by the other actors' performances that he kind of just blended in so well, but it didn't bother me as much. Like I don't know if you remember the one where he um the one that he pops in as with the office the secretary early in our ride here on the Quantum Leap
right,
show.
yeah.
That one was a little jarring. And I can't pinpoint exactly why. I don't know. He did really well on this role, and it wasn't distracting to me. And I get it. I think it's because I really enjoyed the story and of this one. Um, I don't know, something about it. I accepted it more. I think I was like really into it. That's why.
I think also, and maybe this is wise, they've already given us the episodes that he has trouble adjusting to the fact that he's a woman, and we know how that feels for him. And they kind of skipped through that. They didn't go like, oh no, I'm a woman. No, he just kind of does his thing. He's just trying to
Yeah.
help the family and he moves on. And maybe that's why, because he made it less of a big deal, we're not paying as much attention to that. We're paying much more to the story. But
That
in
could
order
be.
for him to be in that position, they've done the work in the previous episodes. Meaning we know that for him being a woman, it's usually more difficult for him. But this time he just didn't dwell on it because we already know it.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't think so. That's just script. What do you think?
I think that the awkwardness that Sam experienced here was more on him trying to sing pop songs of the 1960s rather than it is being part of a singing trio of ladies. Because we've already gone through the motions where he gets upset when he leaps into a woman, and then he gets upset when he thinks he leaps into a woman when he's wearing drag because he was an undercover cop. Now it's gotten to the point where it's become par for the course. And his disorientation is just like any other disorientation whenever he does any other leap. He's just trying to get his bearings and figure out what he's there to do.
All right. First of all, I want to stop here because Matthew McGee, his wife Chrissy McGee, it's her birthday today, and he asked if I would mind giving a birthday shout out, because they love watching the stream every week. She loves the theme song at the end too, and that really I'm very appreciative. Okay, so Chrissy, happy birthday, and I'm so honored that you hang out with us every week. I knew that Matthew was here. I didn't realize that it was Matthew and Chrissy. Now I learn something new every week, and of course, I don't know. It's like it's a birthday, right? So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chrissy. Happy birthday to you. So that was
Wow.
it.
Very nice.
Nice, yeah.
I gave you the kind of crooning 50s version of that. And I wasn't warmed up, so probably it didn't come out very good, but did my best. And yeah, everybody here in the chat is also wishing you a happy birthday. And thank you for watching our stream and our show.
Mur Rockstar just said that a copyright strike is incoming. Isn't the Happy Birthday song public domain?
Yes, it is. There was a point in the 80s where someone tried to own it, and that court case, the first ruling gave ownership to an individual, and then it was appealed during that process, you'd find a number of sitcoms in the early to mid 80s that were not able to use Happy Birthday at that time
Wow.
because of that legal dispute. In fact, one of them I think was Police Squad. They ended up replacing the Happy Birthday theme with another one.
Oh, I got to check that out. I love Police Squad.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I hope that Matthew heard it. He disappeared. I feel like after they heard this birthday thing, they're like, "That's it. We're done.
We're done.
It's the last straw.
The song that broke the camel's back.
That's it. Like now, this was too much." In any case, I guess let's pull up the episode.
Yes.
All right.
There's a lot of cool little Easter eggs. Obviously, this episode takes place in Chicago, and I was just kind of taking notes to fact check some of the things there.
Okay, I'm sharing.
Let's
Lisa
share.
Katryan script. Lisa Katryan says you have a wealth of information.
Thank you. I've been around.
Well, he is. That's like, it's always relaxing when Script's around because you can just ask some random question and he'll have something. he'll have something for you, and like that's actually a good thing. It kind of fills the gap that if there's something that somebody may not 100% know, and you're like, Script, well, why did this and this happen? And then he'll give an answer. And I think that most of the time, almost all of the time, the answer is pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm just rely on the experience I have.
Probably
people
like a
I-
90 something percent. I'm trying to think, like, is it 97%? Like, you have a good, like, it's rare that I'll ask you and you won't know and you'll be like, I don't know anything. Like, that's very rare, you know?
I mean, I don't think it's rare. I say I don't know a lot, but no, if there's something that I don't know, I don't know it, and then I'll go out and learn it. And if there's something that I do know, I will share the information that I have at that time, and I'm always looking for more. It's just one of the habits writers tend to have is they just sponge up information because you never know, it could be useful for a story in the future.
Yeah.
The dead man says, round, 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 script gets around. And Mary White says, forget ChatGPT, just ask Script. Yeah, he's the local ChatGPT of our stream. So now
that's a reputation I wasn't expecting.
So the thing starts theorizing that one can leave blah, 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 blah. The next leap will be the leap home. And it's like, oh, you got to come out. We're on, going on. Yeah. Oh, boy. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. And then they're here, and they're singing, and he doesn't know the thing. What song are they singing? My Boyfriend's Back? What are they singing here?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
singing
Yeah.
My Boyfriend's Back as an encore. So make with that whatever you will.
My boyfriend's back and he's gonna be in trouble. Hey la, my boyfriend's back.
Hey,
My boyfriend's back.
We already lost 2 viewers to your singing, so why don't you cut it out?
Sorry, guys. That's what they're singing. What can I do? And then she
They're
doesn't.
definitely singing that. Yes.
Yes.
I love that they had the guy from Coming to America. I think that's funny.
Yep. The sleazy guy with the Jerry curl from Coming to America comes in to play a very contentious club owner.
Bobby Lee. He was also an ER.
You know, you're right. He was an ER. You know, I can't help but feel, I'm not saying that this is a 1-for-1 and I don't know the story, but I can't help but feel that this is sort of a tip of the hat to kind of Supremes and maybe Berry Gordy type of character. I'm not saying that these are 1-for-1, you know, replicas of those, but it almost feels like it's kind of inspired.
There are some things I would say overlap. Definitely. I mean, especially in the early 60s as music was kind of being reinvented and taking off, there were a lot of men of various backgrounds that were exploiting as many women as they could in order to, number one, get that hit album, and all the money that comes with it, but also to exercise certain behaviors that gave them a sense of power that they never earned outside of that area.
Because
And-
of their small wee-wees.
Possibly.
I'm trying to think for a second. This is like, I think, a Deborah Pratt episode, yeah. And interestingly, Deborah Pratt is like friends with Debbie Allen, and I'm going to be very careful here because I don't want to say that this is 100%. I'm not suggesting that this is 100% Berry Gordy and the Supremes, but I feel like Deborah Pratt had some good information from the people that she's friends with, the kind of like people in her circle of friends. If you're friends with like Debbie Allen and in that kind of circle of friends, I feel like you know a thing or two about this scene in the 60s. Meaning, she probably, what I'm trying to say is that
Heard stories.
Heard
first
stories.
accounts. Yeah.
Don't forget that at that time there wasn't internet and stuff like that. This is the kind of thing where I feel like between her and her contacts and her friends, they could sit and have some conversations and tell a few stories which could inspire her to maybe write something. And like Script says, Berry Gordy was the most successful guy that kind of ran with these kind of girl bands or whatever it was, and just musicians and Motown and all that. So it's an easy target. But I'm sure, like Berry Gordy, there were a lot of other ones. And I think here it's suggested that this isn't quite a Berry Gordy. This is like a more of a, the bottom of the barrel from the type of Berry Gordys, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget to mute this file, Price.
Oh, could we hear anything until now?
No.
Okay.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. So this is actually this is a pretty universal type of story where you have someone with resources and someone with talent, and the two are trying to forge a deal, and the one with resources is going to look for the best deal they can and take advantage of the desperation of the people that think such an avenue is the escape hatch or the American dream that they've been fed, as opposed to understanding that a lot of people take advantage of that specifically because of the desperation. Like these three girls here, they're on a high after having a successful show at a nightclub where their audience revered them, and they're living off that high, but they have no idea what's in store for them in the future and what the responsibilities of being the center of a fandom is going to bring.
Right. And they are in, does it say, okay, it's April 7th, 1963. They're in New York City, I think, right?
No, Chicago.
Chicago, sorry. Oh, apologize for that. It was early in the morning when I watched this. Ro, you know a thing or two about Chicago. I guess it's the yellow taxi that I'm like, oh, are they in New York? But I guess they had yellow taxis back then.
Yellow Taxi was a huge company for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically
none of the streets look like that though. This is
that is
what's that?
Like a backlot.
Yeah, I think that's like old Century City repurposed.
This looks like where they filmed Seinfeld.
Yeah, right.
Probably would be. Probably would be one of the NBC studio lots.
This looks like total Seinfeld. This thing, like.
That is where Jerry was trying to steal the babka.
Right.
Yes.
Kramer, why did you say that? Wow. And
this is funny because every so often they introduce or they reintroduce or remind the audience that Sam can do a high kick.
Yes. It's part of the show's franchise. Sam's got a high kick, a bad guy.
Yeah.
I feel like in real
funny.
life, I guess Scott Bakula can do a kick because like they love having him do this kick.
Right.
That's
funny.
like their thing. But you know what? I'll tell you something. As a kid, I was always really happy when he did a high kick.
That's funny.
Like I liked it too. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like they're messing with Sam. He's going to do a high kick, and like he does it. So what do these guys? It was really early in the morning. What were they saying to them? They were just like, "Hey, baby, what's up?" What were they saying? Like,
They were
they were hitting on them and wanting them to
come
go
and
back
sit
to
with me and
let's make some music together, that type of thing.
Yeah.
really pervy stuff that you shouldn't be saying to someone under the age of 19 or in general, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they come home and he's like, I can't believe you girls were in a club. How dare
Oh,
you?
and here's a little. Is this where it happens? Somebody was mentioning it in the chat where when the camera moves over to start to do the reflection, you can see Sam start to get out of the way for the other actress to get into the shot.
Oh.
What?
When
just
they go to do the reflection in a few moments,
Yeah.
they do some clever blocking so that.
Oh, yes.
Got-
Finally, after like a few episodes that I felt were very lazy. We'll get to it in a second. It's like, I will not have my daughter go to some club with some brothel. Yeah, we were
It's not a
singing.
brothel.
Oh, it definitely is not a brothel.
Yeah, right.
You're right. Now you can do her voice. That was exactly what she said.
But to a minister, all clubs are brothels.
Right,
Correct.
exactly.
Even the Friars Club is a brothel to a minister.
But Daddy, I don't want to be here all day. I want to sing. You're going to stay here just like I tell you.
You listen to me.
You listen
Daughter.
to me.
Yo,
I ain't letting you out of this house. Yeah, you stay here.
You are going to finish high school and get a degree. That was his goal. He just wanted her to get a degree.
yeah.
And then Sam's like, I already knew I liked this guy. He really cared about his daughter. Oh, this is the part. There was some mirroring here.
Yeah. Somewhere in there.
No, there was another one that was better than this. I feel like there's another part in the episode where we see a mirror that's better than what we saw here. But it's not here yet, I don't think.
No.
Is this also the part she's like, you made Mama stay here, la la la, something about her mom, or she doesn't bring it?
Something like
yeah.
that.
I'm not going to be here trapped like my mom was.
Yeah.
Apparently, from her
cryptic.
perspective, her mother never got to leave home unless it was to go to church.
Right.
But I think that had to do with the fact that she was deathly ill and she only had the strength to once in a while to go to church, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's elaborated later on. And then I think Al shows up. Sam? What is he? She ends up going and signing a contract with this sleazy guy. Does he tell
And
him
we
that
don't have
here?
any data. Apparently, he's like was accused of a crime, but no charges were done. We have no data. There's no data.
Right,
That's what
right,
he says so many times.
Right, he's like, well, there was somebody that was 13 years old, but we don't have a data on that. Remind me, I feel like it was early in the morning. Is there anything else I need to...
2:30. It was 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. 2:30 in the morning. The parents in the body that Sam has leapt into, they're not answering any phone calls. So Sam gets to stay with the Reverend for the time being.
Right, Cherie. All right,
Cherie.
Cherie, you can stay here. Is her name Cherie?
Yes.
Is his name Cherie? I can't even remember.
No, his name is Reverend Father.
No, I mean the Sam's name. Did he leap into somebody called Cherie, or is
Yes.
the other one Cherie?
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
she's Cherie.
Wait, hold on. She's what?
No, he's Cherie.
Yeah.
He's Cherie. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. What's the one that wants to be a singer called?
Oh, no, Linnell.
Linnell.
Yes,
Lynette.
right.
Is it Linnell or no?
Linnell.
Linnell. Okay. All right. I saw the Dead Man before said that Nick Weiser is probably eating beefaroni. He probably is. In any case, praise the Lord. And then
We get a glimpse of the daughter's, talents.
right. I will say that the music here in this episode was pretty good. I liked what I saw
Yeah.
here. I thought this was pretty well done.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
I've
I
never
also
heard that hymn before, but I thought it was a fun hymn.
I also thought it was interesting. Sam is the only white guy in this whole place, and they all think he's a black person. It's kind of, this is one of those things that this show could do that, like, not many shows could do something like this, and it all kind of makes sense, and nobody even thinks about it. And I really think that they've earned the ability at this point to do a show like this,
Mhm.
because after a number of seasons, we're just all used to it and accepting it. Nobody's thinking this is so weird. How is he here?
Nick is backstage.
Oh, well, that's good. And just in time because they're at church.
Yeah, there's a minister.
Nick, how's it going?
Going okay, other than the fact that I had a flat tire.
It's
Yeah, we
okay, but they
heard.
just arrived at a church. Did you see that? And the Reverend is here.
There's
Yes.
there's no goats, but at least the Reverend is here.
I want to comment on this because one of the things I was thinking of is how Sam was able to do this without. He is a skilled singer, and so it takes skill to be so bad at doing it.
Oh
he's
yeah,
pretending to
right,
lip sync, like he's not matching it at all.
right.
Yeah, it's a strange situation because Scott Bakula himself can sing, but they made him as if he couldn't or whatever it is.
Right.
Even though we've seen him in the past, like Don Quixote or whatever, he was able to
Mhm.
sing it. So
And he can read sheet music because he used to play piano. But again, because of the joys of the Swiss cheese brain, he forgets some things that he otherwise should know.
I like this comment by the dead man because I was thinking the same exact thing. I like the actress in this episode, the Linnell girl. And Dead Man says she's a good singer, but I've never heard of her. I feel like I've never seen her again after this episode. I don't know what her resume is and what she's done.
Quite extensive.
It's extensive.
Yeah,
I
she's
feel-
a character actor. She's been working steadily. She was recently in Average Joe and The Upshaws and Big Shot and tons of stuff. She's been acting for a long time. She's got like almost 80 credits, I think.
Well, at least she's like, constantly working. But considering the fact that I thought that she gave a good performance and she could sing well, I would have thought that maybe I would have seen or heard more of her. It's not that I'm saying that she didn't work steadily, but I feel like she didn't have a breakout role.
Well, she's a character actor, and she was also like pushing 30 by the time that this episode aired.
Yeah, she was
Really?
29. She was 29 playing a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But she's got I mean, that last scene, we'll get to it obviously, but that last scene was just marvelous that she sang on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very, very nice.
Yeah.
And I guess somebody was saying that Sam didn't know the song. I don't know if it was Tex Rogers that said it or Rhonda Nefero. But the thing is that even if he didn't know the song, like Script said, he is knowledgeable enough in music that he can read sheet music. The question is, can Sam read sheet music, or can only Scott Bakula read sheet music? And that's
Oh.
a good question. I'm not sure.
No, Sam can because
Sam,
when he was the blind pianist, Al gave him the music, sheet music for him to play off of. He can do it. The thing is that because of the Swiss cheese brain, sometimes he cannot always remember everything. And Al can be the guy that can give him a kick to the keister to get him in gear, but it's not always 100%.
Well, Tex Rogers says not Linnell. Paula was played by a 29-year-old. I am confused, but
No, yeah, he's right.
Marla Sharondoff says Sam has a degree in music. Yes,
But
Sam
I will
is
say, something, and this is just pulling on my own experience here, but like when I'm gonna give a sermon, and before that, there's music, and my biggest fear, you don't want to lose your voice or get a tickle in your throat, so I'm not going to be belting it out, but it is not hard to look like you are. It's not and so that's what I found funny was like he's not just like singing the big notes and moving his mouth along as best he could. He's like looking, oh, okay, yeah. It's just, but I love that. I love that he was so awkward up there, just kind of looking around and doing it that way. And this is probably the first time I've seen a choir set like this where they're not all holding the like choir sheet.
They know the songs, man. They know them.
Yeah.
Storm King says, why can't Al project the words for him? That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
Oh,
We should be
yeah.
able to, yeah.
Special effects budget.
Marla Sharondoff says, my grandfather was a cantor. He sang at our shul. It's interesting. And the dead man, I like this comment. Yeah, it's a contest between Sam and Al who has more experience, because each of them, he has like 7 degrees and Al's just been everywhere.
Right.
It's like, of course I can teach you how to dance Motown or whatever later in the episode. Like,
Yeah.
he just
And
threw in the Al already knows it somehow.
And that Al has been to the Regal Theater here in Chicago in its heyday. It's an old theater that used to be on 95th Street. I think it's a vacant lot now.
Right.
It's like Chicago's answer to the Apollo.
Oh,
No, but I
cool.
think the Apollo is still around, whereas if you say
Yeah.
that it's gone, then that's a bad sign.
Well, the Regal Theater, again, I think they, if it's not an empty lot now, because it's on 95th Street. I can't remember the last time I was on 95th Street. If it's not an empty lot, it might be like a historical registry type of building, which it might be. One of the two, 50-50 chance.
Watching something on the Apollo last night.
And what were you saying, Nick?
I'm pretty sure it was the Apollo last night. They were doing some big celebration for some country stars that had passed or something.
Interesting. That's a strange place to do it at, but I believe you. In any case, strange because usually they have more. I don't know. I don't even know what they do at this point in the Apollo. But it used to be very kind of Motown-ish. But that was probably a million years ago.
I like Al's outfit in this scene. It's so odd in this environment.
And then Al comes and then he leaves with him so he can tell him.
Yeah.
And then I think Sam, she still signs with him. There's nothing you can do. Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And then
she's
he
15.
says
She
Ziggy
can't
might be
sign
wrong.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, Ziggy. He says Ziggy might be wrong, and Ziggy's not. Ziggy has more data.
Yeah, like Ziggy's statistics are
Right.
more reliable than Sam's gut instinct, and that's.
Right.
But like the one thing that's kind of interesting is a 15-year-old cannot be held to a legally binding contract they sign because they're underage. They need a parent or guardian to co-sign it, and so that's a plot hole.
Plot hole number 1.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, back in the day, I think that things happened that were a little less official. I'm not saying that you can't contest it or whatever, but who knows how things went on in these kind of with these sleazy club owner in the middle of
show
at this time
business
period.
was very, very new, and not a lot of people understood what their rights were.
Right.
So
I would say today there's even today there's a lot of stuff that legally you can't do or isn't binding, and companies still do it.
Yep.
Because most people will not question it. There's living in California, there are a lot of laws that, like a non-compete contract, they're not legal in California, but every company that trains you and brings you on still makes you sign one because they're going to threaten you. And if you say, no, I know my rights and I know it's not legal here, they can't do anything about it. But they still put it out there because most people will go, oh, I can't because of this non-compete clause.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's certainly things that even today people put in contracts, and you could still sign it and then contest it later, and still file a lawsuit, even though seemingly you can't. There's a lot of things, but back to this thing here. I guess Sam and Al have a disagreement, and at this point he's telling him that he'll teach him the moves. He's like, "Are you kidding? I was at the Regal Theater. I saw Smokey Robinson. Hey, Sam, I can show you how to do the moves." And then the mashed potato, do the mashed potato, do the twist, do the twist. Is that what they're doing here?
This, one of the girls says, "You're dancing like a white girl."
That's funny. Watch me now. Is that what they're doing? I don't even know if that's what they're. Why did I think they're doing this song?
I don't know. I can't remember what the song was.
You're correct. That is the
Mashed
song that they were doing.
potato.
And they were like, that song is 2 weeks old. We won't win with this.
Right.
Now that I can dance. And then he shows up. Hey, ladies.
How
got
you
this
Just
doing?
breaks and enters into their home.
Yeah.
I'd really love it if you played this song, this track.
You're not supposed to be here, yo.
You ain't supposed to be here. No, you're not supposed
Get out
to
of
be
the
here.
bedroom of a child, you pervert.
I know, really.
And then, like,
And Al is spilling the beans on this guy's character and moral code or lack thereof.
Sam, there's no more information about it, but yeah, a 13-year-old once complained. Does he say something like that or no?
They said that there's no charges laid.
No
so-
charges. Okay.
Or there's no record because they either dropped the charges or it was never filed.
What you doing in my place? I won't let some pimp inside here from a brothel. Talking to my daughter. You better
Sinner.
leave. Sinner. You
Yeah,
better
he calls
leave.
her a sinner, and the guy's like, just because I don't go to church doesn't mean I'm not a sinner. I mean that I'm a sinner. And it was a good exchange there because it's like there's no appropriate reason for him to have done what he did.
Yes.
Right.
Right,
vibe.
exactly. And then he's like, "That's right. You don't have to go to church to be not go to church to be a sinner." But I heard our neighbors say that what you told their 13-year-old girl. And then Sam, I think, looks it out and he's like, "Sam, there's no charges filed." And then he leaves. And then she's like, "What did you do? We need to be able to go there. We have to go perform at this place." And then
You're grounded. Like that.
You're grounded.
I mean, that's essentially what it was.
Well, and
Because-
here is where they're explaining what happened to the mom from her perspective.
From her perspective, my mom got sick, and then she tried to take me away from him, but then he made us come back, and she was trapped here. She could never leave the house.
Well, she doesn't acknowledge that her mom was sick.
Right.
In her mind, her mom was perfectly fine, and her dad locked her in the room until she died of boredom.
Yeah.
Right.
Is how she's viewing it.
What does Al tell him here?
They're still arguing about what the solution is.
Right. Because I think Al's like, "You have to go with them to the thing." And then I guess they decide they're going to go to this club and do their performance. And then as they arrive, this guy is like, "Oh, look at this jazz. It's so beautiful. Look, it's so good. Oh, you're so beautiful." And then they're like talking about the song.
This is where it gets really creepy.
Right. And he's like, "Where's Linnell?" "Sam, I'm going to go zero in on her." And then he like zeroes in. "You pervert, let her go."
This is
And
kind
then
of a
it's like-
cool effect where he kind of
Yes,
superimposes
finally.
himself.
Finally,
And
after
Trey.
a few episodes that they didn't know what to do with him, like they actually
Yeah.
brought him in a situation that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Excuse me."
Get your hands off her.
And then she's like, "Cherie, what did you do?"
I'm glad the other girl also was on Sam's side. Like, are you
Yeah.
crazy? Apologize
Well,
to him? Why?
At first, she was like, "You were hurting me," and that. But the moment he walked out, she was ready to chase after him and apologize. Like, she wanted the defense. She wanted them to come in and save her. But the moment she saw her dream going away, and she was
just
ready to
about
apologize.
face. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the part where the father he's in the church, and then Sam shows up.
He's
I thought this was a pretty good exchange. That like he's
remembering
reverend,
his wife too. Yeah. He's
but-
like,
but
"Oh, I miss you."
Sam is so like thoughtful and actually trying to think in the same way that he's thinking to try to,
And this is where Sam finds out what really happened with the mom.
Right.
Right.
that
I found her in a hotel. She didn't want to be around. She didn't want us to see her that way. She didn't take Linnell. That was probably the worst impression, but what can I do? I did my best. It's kind of what it said he sounded like. I mean, it's as good as it's going to get. Sorry, Lisa. In any case, well, maybe you should listen to her sing, Reverend. I don't need to listen to anything. Is that how it ends? I don't even know.
He actually didn't come up with a valid reason why he shouldn't see her sing, or at least encourage her singing. And, you know, like, again, I know a lot of parents that have to deal with their children who have a talent and a desire. Every single one of them, their instinct was to support but also couch it under, you're going to prove you're worthy of this by doing these tasks I set out for you with regards to what I think is best for your future, like finishing high school, maybe even exploring lessons to further develop your talent after high school or during high school. Like, how committed are you? Or are you just doing this as like a passing hobby that you're just super excited about? This one here, like, he just says flat out no. And he doesn't even broach the situation of like, well, she can sing in church. Like, he doesn't even give her that option.
Right. He's too harsh. Hi, Tracy. How's it going? Just want to say hi to Tracy.
So,
Alexander.
At that point, he admits that if he hangs on to her, that she's going to rebel. And Sam's trying to convince her, well, then support it. And he says, I can't. So he's at the point where he's like, I can't strangle her, but I'm also not going to support her in this. It's
Here's the part.
So stupid.
This is the part where Al shows up and he's like, if you don't show up and sing with her, she's going to sign by herself, and it's even worse now. And then he's like, all right, I'll go sing with her. Because somehow, like, it turns out even worse. Like, Sam somehow made it even worse, that, like, instead of singing with the two girls, she sings by herself, and somehow that's even worse than the original situation she was in. Although I'm not sure how.
Yeah, now she's just with the Predator.
Just with the Predator, yes.
By herself with no one in her corner to, like, support or defend.
I was like, fine, we'll do it. Yeah, I want to support Linnell. Are you sure? Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, here they're singing something.
It's just a little warm-up song.
I think that they're singing, you make me want to shout, make my ass up, a little bit softer now. I think that's what they're singing, no?
No.
No? What are they singing?
It was a different song.
It's a different song. Now I have to know. What is it?
It was, go ahead and play it.
Just one more.
The song had to do about the gentleman asking the father of a young lady to have one more date, and the father won't be mad.
Stay just a little bit longer. Come on, now stay. No. Say you will. Right? That's what they were singing. No?
Sure.
Maybe.
I think
I just remember it was a slower, more romantic song.
Okay.
That's what I remember.
Another day. Just one more.
One more time. They sing it very high, but that I was right. Stay just a little bit longer.
That wasn't
Come
the
on,
song,
guys.
of
That
course.
was the right song. I did it.
No, it wasn't the song.
No, bro, it has to be the song. Okay. Look.
Play it afterwards.
No, I can't let this go, bro. Okay.
I know you're mine. If we have another day, just one more time, I want you to stay.
I was right.
Were you?
Yes, he was. But whatever it was,
Just
Tex
one
Rogers
more
was
time.
not a fan of it.
Stay just a little bit longer. Come on, I got it right.
I still
I
don't
want
think,
props. I got it right.
I
No,
still don't
no.
think it's the song.
Yes, Price got it right. That's the song it is.
Right, you were driving me crazy, Ro. That's not nice. You knew it was the right one. I think Ro was just doing that to get me. Riled up.
I was just trying to piss off Tex.
So, in any case,
the price is right.
That's right.
Tex Rogers says headache music to me. Why? I mean, it's a classic song. It's kind of a classic Motown type of song. In any case, now like the father's arrives, and he's like,
Yeah. What do you want? What do you
want? I
here?"
thought you wouldn't have never set foot in my club.
He told him, he goes, "You said some pretty choice words back at your place. Now what do you want?"
Well, I want to talk to you as a father to a father.
But that was a funny line, though, because I'm sure this guy's not a father.
Right. He's
No,
like, I
he's
want to
just
talk to
coming
you
at
as
him as a father, not father to father.
Right, not
Right,
father
yeah.
to father. He's like, I want to talk to you as a father. It's really important, my daughter. Well, I want to let her do whatever she wants to do. I don't know what he says to her.
He says,
Something
let
like
her
that.
let her live her life. And he's like, "No, you let her live her life." Something
You let her
Let
live
her
her life.
grow up. She's already growing up. It's like, no one should be saying that.
No, not
Oh,
at all.
and then he says, "I'll make a deal with you." And then that's when the girls come in and he goes, "Nobody needs to make a deal with nobody. Not as far as I'm concerned."
Mhm.
I had the
Yeah, it's funny because the father's coming in there with that, trying to appeal to his better angels, but he doesn't give him any kind of incentive. Well, yeah, he does. He gives him a threat, an idle,
Yeah, that's a good incentive right there.
but
Real change.
It's true. That is a good feature.
the idle threat that he gives him is something that this guy's not really worried about.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right.
Because he's pretty brazen and he's obviously getting away with it.
Right.
And in today's world, that would freak somebody out.
Yeah.
In the Me Too era. But back then, you'd have to have some hard proof. You can't just come and say, "Hey, this guy was here and he's doing inappropriate things from what I'm hearing."
Mm-hmm.
That just wouldn't have caused anything to happen to this dude at that time.
Unless he went to a white Irish cop. But he didn't make that threat. So I mean,
That's another episode.
Stay by the Four Seasons. Okay. Al's look is subdued. Was Al's look subdued here? I don't even know. But
Once
then
you
somebody
change-
was
once-
saying that maybe it's subdued. Storm King was saying maybe Al's look is subdued as to not overshadow the songs of the performance. Possibly. Tex Rogers, the thumping bass line sounds like a headache. That is a very mild bass line, Mr. Tex Rogers. You should listen to stuff like that's on the radio today. I think it'll give you a much bigger headache.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
I don't see Tex listening to the radio today.
No, I don't think Tex is interested in the Billboard charts right now. But I will
He
say
has
that
his taste and he sticks to it.
I wonder what his taste is, but I'll say that kind of Motown stuff was actually quality. I actually there's a lot of really good music from that era, from that time, and from the type of music they're performing here. I mean, I can't speak. It's also a matter of taste, but I actually really like this kind of music. That's why all the songs that have been on until now, I actually knew them. Marla Sharondoff says Heat Wave. Heat Wave is what they perform now when they go on stage, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's their main song to win the contest.
Right. Did he give him the song or
No, they picked it.
oh
they
picked
well
it
no
up?
they
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 were
picked
rehearsing
it,
one song and then they said, "Let's change it up," right?
change it up, and then he came by with a record and gave it to her, and that's the song that they ended up picking.
Yeah.
But there's they had to work it out differently because there's no sheet music for it, so they had to reverse engineer it. 'Cause it
Right.
was that new of the song.
So, but Daddy, I want to sing. If it's so important to you, go sing your heart out, or something like that. And then she, oh, Daddy. And then
By the way-
introducing the Devettes.
By the way, this wig that Sam wears is probably the best wig he's ever worn as a man. Looks really good on him.
For sure. And then it's like heat wave.
And
Something, whatever.
he's finally got rhythm to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott Bakula is a good sport. I'll give him that. He really did his thing here.
Yeah. And I think this is a little bit of what I'm talking about. It's like I accepted this role a little more. And I think it's because he finally gets his mojo going, but her performance, the young lady here, is really great. The song is nice, and it does seem like the three actors are having fun.
Right, and then he's like, "I like what I'm seeing here. Bring her to the Regal." And then the Reverend's like, "Ugh."
What character is he? Like, is he like the sleazy overlord
That guy?
boss? Yeah.
No, that's the guy from the radio station that they.
Oh, that's the guy
there's
from the radio station they
and then
needed
there's
to
the
impress.
other guy who's who they called from a record label, right? So there's two different guys, but I don't think we see the guy from the record label though.
No, I don't think we see him either. And I think that this
Is he the same guy that showed up before the dad showed up? Because there's a little interaction before the dad comes up, and it was another gentleman who was wearing a hat.
Maybe it was this guy.
Okay.
See, I want to say this, that again, I'm not saying that it's very Gordy, but I mean, there were multiple Gordys and situations like this in different places.
Sure.
But what I'll say is that this thing where he's like friends with the guy with the radio, that's another tip of the hat to like the Motown days. Back in the day, the thing of the radio kind of being given some payola to put on these tracks and put on these songs, and this was all kind of a racket. The guy has the club, he has the ladies, he goes to the radio guy puts it on. There was a lot of like wheeling and dealing, stuff that was being done sort of under the table that today would be more difficult. Somewhere, I think around the 90s or early or late 90s or mid 90s, these things started becoming more known. They went on for many years, these type of wheeling and dealing. I do feel that in the 60s, it was like the peak of this, but this went on for decades. But today, they don't do it the same way. You can't just walk in with an envelope of cash and just say, "Hey, put this song on."
Oh, they try, but you can't. Yes, you absolutely can. In fact,
it went federal. It went federal because my wife used to be an A&R person for record labels. So
I see.
They definitely can no longer do it. Or at least,
here's the thing. This is what I noticed. They can't do that, but they have other things that they do. Kind of like we laugh sometimes at these kind of shows that Disney flies out somewhere, gets them like a VIP treatment, VIP this, VIP that, takes care of everything, and it's sort of like gives them incentive to promote whatever movie it is that they're releasing at that time or show. We've seen this with Lucasfilm with different things. So I'm saying probably today those kind of tactics are more likely to be employed, where you're taking care of the people and maybe giving them things that are of value to them in some way, shape, or form. But the thing where you walk in and throw an envelope with cash on their desk, that doesn't work that way anymore.
And the music business has changed so much.
Right, that too.
Even from the 90s to the 2000s, it's completely destroyed itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? In a way, on one hand, it kind of deserved it. On the other hand, we suffered for it because once they did all the digital download, all these companies that used to sell cassettes or records or CDs, and it cost them like $1 to manufacture, but they sold it for like $10. There was a huge margin of profit, and these companies were making a ton of money, and there were a lot of people making big money. A lot of times the artists weren't getting a significant cut of it. That improved over the years, but there was a lot of stuff going on. Once the digital stuff went on, a lot of these sales that they used to make money from, they don't make money like that anymore. So it certainly changed the industry.
Oh yeah, because the music industry was the only one where the more overhead you had, the more money you made. Like that's how the model was. It's very backwards. But as a result, it couldn't sustain itself, especially when music became more accessible to to people by way of like Napster, which then turned into Spotify, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Mary White says Scott's a good sport. I don't even like wearing heels.
He must.
Storm King, the Dead Man. Some of those stories about Quincy Jones were kind of ruthless. Don't really know. Quincy Jones was a genius, at least that. I don't really know. I don't have the context to why this. The A&R man said I don't hear a single, and I guess the.
But it's funny because the more things change, the more they stay the same. This is the music industry at this time. A lot of taking advantage of stuff. Even people from the early 2000s, these big corporations, they're still taking advantage of artists. And we look in our space of YouTube, like when somebody was a breakout hit, 5-10 years ago, there was all these MCN companies and stuff that would come in and say, oh, join us and we'll flood you with cash and we'll do all this. And they'd sign on, and then they'd realize they'd lost everything, and they'd lose their channel, their brand.
Yeah, because what they'd end up doing is they sold their channel so that they have ownership of it. And it's also kind of like in the music industry when someone's like, oh yeah, Sony paid for this guy's house. Well, Sony owns that house. The guy doesn't have it. It's the label's house. And when he's no longer making hits, they evict him. But he thinks it's his house, or they think it's their house. But they're not looking at the fine print to realize that no, you are merely a guest, and you own nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Also, a lot of times what they do is they'd sign, and especially back in the day, they'd sign an artist and they'd say, okay, we're going to produce your album, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But the fine print would say that only after all this money gets back to them, and sometimes it could be a really astronomical number, only after that, the guy starts making money. And in those Motown days, sometimes they wouldn't even give royalties to the people that actually wrote it. There was a lot of sneaky stuff going on. It's gotten better over the years, but right now, today, I agree with Nick, people always find a way to take advantage of other people in some way, shape, or form. And yes, artists get taken advantage of, but I guess
even now,
ways.
Yeah, even now, I think even a lot of the bigger artists, the only substantial way that they actually make money off their music is when they tour.
That's the only way. See here. Okay, here's another interesting thing, and I'll say this, and then we can just continue to focus on the episode. It used to be that the record labels, the main thing that they made money off of was the sales of the albums and the music and stuff like that. Once that shifted because of all the digital stuff that changed the game and made that far less profitable, labels started doing what's called a 360 deal. They'd sign an artist like a Justin Bieber and say, hey, you want to be a star? We have a special deal for you that's called a 360 deal. You're going to give us, a cut of your tour. You're going to give us a cut of your merch. You're going to give us a cut of your sales, and we'll do everything for you. This is like a one-stop shop. We're doing everything for you. You're our brand. Now, some of these artists that work for them, if they take like a Bieber and whatever it is, he does end up making money. But the amount of money that they make on him, or, I don't know what it is today, but for many years was probably astronomical.
Well, that's like your favorite singer, Price, Taylor Swift. Like that's been her thing of the last couple of years, right? Is going back and redoing and re-recording all her early stuff to
Taylor,
because she doesn't own. She had a bad deal before, and
okay. Have to step in here. Taylor Swift is it? I'm going to choose my words carefully. I don't want to use a bad word. Okay. I'm trying to think how to work around this word. She's full of poo.
Is that
a good way to put it? So in any case, why is she full of poo? Because basically, from a young age, her father, that's something that most artists don't have, bankrolled her career. Her father was a successful businessman. You
He
know,
bought a record label and signed his daughter. So
right?
That's essentially what he did.
Right, exactly. Like without her father bankrolling this whole project, there would be no Taylor Swift. And then a lot of times artists, they sign a deal and then later they say, I was young, I needed the money, whatever it is. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I signed it. I'm so stupid. They didn't let me bring a lawyer. That wasn't the case with her father. Her father brought a team of lawyers. They had everything. It's just at that moment they needed that, those people that signed with them, whatever it is. I forgot the name of the label. Whoever big I don't know what it is. In any case, whoever signed her at that time, of course, when you sign an artist that's unknown and you're going to be putting all of your resources to making her a star, and you actually make her that big of a star, she still already made a ton of money. And yes, those people that signed her to that deal, they had a lot of rights on her music. They owned the masters or whatever it is, but that's the deal she made with them. I mean, she's talking today like a person that has hundreds of millions of dollars, and she's like, why did I make that deal when I was 16? You made it because that's the deal you needed to do. And you had a team of lawyers and your father with all the money that bankrolled everything, and all this kind of, it's a man's world. It's because they're chauvinists. It's not because they're chauvinists. It's because you're like a spoiled brat and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm not going to shed a tear for you. And at the end, she's like, you know what? I don't even need your thing. So he sold it to Scooter Braun. So she's like, I'm going to record them again. In her case, you can record them again because the same bubblegum crap that she released like 10 years ago, she can sing it again. What's the difference? It's the same bubblegum crap now that it was like then. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, Chad. I knew that was going to set him off.
Oh, sorry, Chad. Sorry. I don't know how we got to this.
Wasted a bunch of money. I was trying to get an AI song generator to do a song about Price's story of Taylor and the sushi bar in the voice of Taylor Swift. It's funny. A lot of those AI things, you can get them to do all sorts of artists, but you can't get them to mimic Taylor Swift.
I'm sure that there's an AI that can do Taylor Swift, but the funny thing is the Taylor Swift, she has to sing that she saw me. It has to be one of her stupid bubblegum songs that she saw me at the sushi.
That's what I wrote it out and everything.
And the security wanted to get rid of me. Like, if she could say there was some weird guy and like I told my security to get rid of him, that would be the song. This is another story that we're not going to get into now, but yes, that happened once, that I went to a sushi place in New York and she was eating there, and because she was her and it was a small place that she probably shouldn't have gone to, they were trying to kick out people and not let them in, but I had a reservation, so her security were trying to get rid of me, and then the owner of the place said like that I had a reservation and they had to let me in, which is really annoying. Didn't add points because I was never a fan, and that kind of sealed the deal for me. It's like I knew there was something annoying about her, but that was just like, okay, this is a sign. It's a sign, Nick. Anyhow, back to the whatever we were talking about, this thing. So then he shows up and he's like saying, well, I lost her forever. She'll never do it. And then she like, or something like that. And then she comes by and she starts singing. I don't know the song she's singing. She sings very nicely. And then she sings to her father. Her father becomes very emotional. They embrace.
She's
and then
singing a hymn at this point, I believe.
What'd you say?
I believe she's singing a hymn.
Of course, but I don't know hymns well enough to kind of even go there. I couldn't recreate this. Even if I knew what hymn it was, I can't sing like this lady, but I couldn't even attempt it because I don't know what hymn it is. But it's nice. They make up, they embrace, and I will say that I would have liked a little bit of, Sam, you did it. Now she's going to be this, and you know what happens to that guy? That pervert goes away. And he didn't say anything. They just like look at each other, and it's like,
then he leaves. Yeah.
I wonder if they recorded it, but then they just cut it out because the moment that the father and daughter embrace was so powerful, and they just wanted to leave it that way.
It's possible.
For me, I think the fact that she sang the entire hymn. And just it was kind of, I thought it was just going to be like maybe one or two verses and then the scene would continue, but they did the entire hymn, and it was a very powerful performance by the young actress, and it gave me chills. And I think to end a scene where just the embrace happens, I think that to me that was a perfect decision to make.
Maybe I thought of it. It's possible. It doesn't ruin the episode. So I wish he would have told us before or something, but maybe it would have ruined the moment. So I guess it is what it is. Mary White says his eye is on the sparrow. Maybe that's what the hymn is called. Don't know. This is cool. I like this episode that he leaps into. He's like he's a pilot, and then like he drops a cigarette, and then the plane is going down, and then it's oh boy, and then.
It bothered me because he just got up and didn't pull back on the throttle. Like,
yes,
can you just grab the throttle? Just pull it back, dude.
Yeah.
Right. He needed to do more than he did for sure. But I will say that the episode that the one that we're getting, the next one, I actually like that episode.
Oh yeah,
I like this one as well, but that's one. That one, the like I don't want to say what it is. That one, that one is actually, why I like it, and we'll get to it next week. It's a simple episode that I like. That it's simple but gets the job done, and is memorable at the same time. Like that's when you already have a show that's established, and you have a good writing room, and you have like a good, a good thing going on, you can make an episode like the one we're going to see next week, which is one that I actually really like.
Now, is it aping anything? Because in the first few moments there, it gave me very much Airplane vibe.
No,
like the comedy?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not aping that at all. It's a whole different thing. I'm telling you that's a good one, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I don't want to say anything. People that haven't seen it will see it, and we'll talk about it next week. As far as this episode goes, I guess we can just kind of go through our roundtable and just share some thoughts. Ro, what did you think of this episode?
I thought it was a really solid episode. Some really solid performances. I loved the singing and the songs in the church. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I liked Sam's interpretation of his character. Again, like I said in the before we started, I think I accepted Sam in this role a little more than some of his previous female roles, but I do feel like it's because of the performances around him, and it just seems like he kind of integrated himself into the other actors, that it didn't really bother me that he was wearing a dress. Not that the other ones bothered me. It's just it seemed like it was too much of a fish out of water. And here, I guess Price or Script said it earlier. It just seemed like they didn't make a big deal about that, and he just kind of, got down to business right quicker than.
I think I said it, but I agree with what I said.
Right.
No, to be fair, it would make sense that Script would have said it, but in this case, I think that I actually said it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you said it.
Somebody said it. That's what counts.
Probably if I wouldn't have said it, Script would have said it. But yeah, I generally agree.
You know what? Sean said it, and he's not even here.
But yeah, it was. I agree. They didn't make a big deal of the whole thing. He just already steps in and doesn't even mention once to Al, like, "Oh, Al, I'm a woman." Like, he doesn't say anything. It's just like there's a story here, and they're focusing on the story. The same way, maybe at the end, where he doesn't bring the information about what happens to the people. They really are focused on this story, and they want to bring you into it. And for the most part, I think that they did it pretty well. Script, what do you think about it?
I agree. I mean, I joked earlier that this was like a Tyler Perry story, or a story that inspired Tyler Perry to do his things, because a lot of the high stakes drama for very low stakes goals is one of the things that Tyler Perry does quite well for his audience. That's why he's a very wealthy man. But what I liked about this one here is that it was really at its heart a story about a father and daughter kind of reconciling over the loss of wife and mom and what they're going to do. And this has been going on for like years, and then he finally finds, a life within her that hasn't been there since the mother has died, and that's through her singing. And I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. This was pretty well written. I feel like you had characters, you knew what they wanted, you knew what was driving them, and I think
antagonists. Yeah,
you had an antagonist. and the casting was good. I feel like they brought actors that were right. The guy that played the Reverend, I thought he was perfect. The girl that played the Linnell, I thought she was perfect as well. Mr. Soulglow, I thought he was great. Like, I don't know why. I don't know how that guy, like, you put him like a shady, slippery guy, like it works perfectly for some reason. Maybe because I was already just thinking of Soulglow, that I just like automatically understand that this guy's like a slippery guy. He's not. I mean, he's not as much of a evil person in Coming to America, but you kind of feel like he's a douche there.
Sure.
All right then.
Right? Am I not right? Yeah, he's great as Soulglow. I love that movie.
No,
I love Coming to America.
He's a great actor. He's got a lot of range. He knows how to play a villain well, but he also plays like a really good gentleman. And got to remember that an actor's not only that one role.
Of course, of course. I just really, for me, Coming to America is such a one of my favorite comedies, certainly of the '80s, maybe of all time. Really like it. Not Coming to America 2, not to be confused with that embarrassing thing that was put on Amazon. But
I liked Coming to America too. I enjoyed it.
You did. I felt so disappointed by it. It was such a letdown.
Yeah.
I feel like Eddie Murphy just. I don't know. I didn't feel like his heart was 100% in it. But
I think Wesley Snipes stole the show, but
yeah, I thought Wesley Snipes was pretty good, but Eddie Murphy seemed kind of subdued. In any case, Nick, how did you feel about this episode? And also, I mean, you are a minister, and that guy was a reverend. Like, also, give us your opinion. How do you feel like? Because when you see something like that portrayed, you can sort of have a feeling if you feel like there's something true there, if it's something authentic, or it's just like a bunch of nonsense. So I'm wondering what you think about it.
So before I get to that, back up because I missed the beginning. I really liked how Sam came in. He hit his head like the stormtrooper, and then that was like the perfect excuse for why he did bad on stage. I was like, oh, I hit my head, and then I really enjoyed the scene where he beat the guys up. That was just fun. And through this whole episode, the daughter, her cluelessness, like when they're out at 2 a.m. and she's like, we're just gonna walk around. It's like she's completely clueless. She's, yes, she was young when the stuff happened with her mom, but she's like, when you're told facts, like she is rewriting history in her mind. She is living that way. So in a way, I was not drawn to her character. Her character was, a little bit annoying, but truthful. It's truthful. But for the Reverend, this is something you see a lot of, and it is a difficult thing for parents, especially parents of faith that have more stricter standards than what their kids' standards of their friends are going to be. And so they're trying to lay this down, but I think there was a good message in this, hoping to see it was not, she was going to get that deal with that guy, and she walked out and she followed her dad. And it was the fact that her dad told her to play, her dad gave her a certain amount of freedom. It isn't about just banning everything, getting rid of everything. That it's setting those standards, teaching principles, and developing that relationship so they don't feel smothered. And when they don't feel smothered, and they have stuff that maybe parents say don't do this, and they can sit there and talk it out, and it is not just no, you're not doing that, you're not doing anything like that. That's when you get that, because he was right. He mentioned at some point, like, if I just ground her, she's gonna run away. He came to that realization, but it takes a little bit more. And one of the things that I loved about this episode was specifically how, and they've shown this a couple of times. They had the one where the family was on a vacation, but Izzy goes through the things and looks at the statistic, like this person's going to die or this person's career is going to be ruined and we need to fix that. but Sam looks more at like the heart behind it. Why do these things go awry? Why does this thing break down? If I fix this unrelated thing, it'll have the domino effect of fixing these other things. And it's a longer shot. It's a harder shot to fix that thing. And so, and Alan will be going against him. No, this is what you got to do. You got to focus on this. And I love it when Sam says, no, I'm going to focus this on it there. And it solves the other problem. And so I really appreciate that. Now, as far as the minister part goes, I will say, different denominations, it is very different in the style of a lot of this stuff. But one of the things that you see a lot is that the minister's kids are either one of two things. They're either usually super squeaky clean or super rebellious. And so that's what we saw here. It's like
no middle ground.
there's not. I mean, like, so my dad was a minister as well, and growing up, and I have a lot of regret about this, but growing up, I made a point of letting all my friends know that I wasn't a tattletale. Like, I didn't partake in a lot of things. A lot of times I'd sit on it, but it was like, you don't have to worry about me. And there were a number of youth that were my friends that were living double lives, and which resulted in teen pregnancies, abortions, all this kind of stuff. Some people got into drugs, really messed up their lives. And I'm like, man, looking back at it now, it's like I was so concerned about them not being friends with me that I wasn't really being a good friend to them and helping to be that conscience that Sam was being here in this episode. He was helping her. Like, this is not just, listen to your dad. Like, this is not right. This guy is not right. He's a creep. He's in your room. He's, Sam's helping her. And those were that kind of wisdom I wish I had when I was younger. But also I see the Reverend and his, thing. The other thing that I see a lot that is unfortunate is, and she mentions this, that he's more worried about his image. And that's how she felt, that he's trying to hide. He doesn't want her down there singing at a club, because then what will the congregation say if he's doing that? And so they didn't really, I didn't get that from him, but that is something that happens where there are ministers who have problem children, and all they do is try to sweep it under the rug. They don't try to help their own child. They're trying to keep that embarrassment from coming out. And that's a real sad state that I do see happen.
The dead man says snitches get stitches. So I don't know if that makes you feel any better. I also want to acknowledge the Gooch send some people our way from his stream, and I want to thank him. The Gooch is awesome. He has his channel Diabolical Souls, and you should definitely check out what he does. He does a lot of kind of anime and things like that, anime reviews, and his channel is doing very well, and he does a lot of really cool stuff there. So as a friend of the channel, really grateful, for any support we get, and really appreciate that, man. I don't know if he's listening, but really appreciate it. Thank you. And sorry. So Nick, did you have anything more? I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to acknowledge some of the things that were going on.
That was kind of mean. So, like I said, I enjoyed the episode. I really liked the dad. But I also, he wasn't perfect in it, but I did like that he came around. But I mostly liked how Sam played it.
Yeah, I think that Scott Bakula was a good sport, and I like that at the end he did the choreography and did all that stuff that he needed to do in that final scene. Actually, for some reason, out of all the songs that were played in this episode, I probably like Heat Wave the least. Heat Wave is one that everybody's always like, wow, Heat Wave, and that's the only one that I'm kind of lukewarm on. I don't know why. Like, it's not a song. I'm serious. It's not a song that I love for some reason. Even that like a song that the guy was singing before they went on, the one that Ro told me that I didn't know the song and I ended up knowing it. So even that one stayed just a little bit longer. I like that song way better than Heat Wave. And even like My Boyfriend's Back and Do You Love Me Now That I Can Dance, all of those I like better. So, but I mean, I guess people like Heat Wave. What am I going to do?
I just
wish
think
they
it's
would-
funny that it wasn't warming to you, and that's a good pun. So
Right. I was lukewarm about the. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I didn't even realize the pun as I was doing it. You were realizing it better than me, but I just think it's a song that doesn't impress me until today. But if people like it, what can I do? And it would have been nice if they would have gotten like secured a more Supremes type of song for the end, like "Set Me Free, Why Don't You, Babe?" Like one of those. That would have been cooler. But
you know what though? Don't you think it had to be kind of a church song?
Heat Wave, is that church?
Oh,
song?
you mean for the
Oh, the thing that she's singing to the Father at the end, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
hymn
yeah,
is
yeah.
perfect. I'm saying that like the Dovettes they play
Right.
at the end of the club, their big song was kind of a downer for me. You know what I mean? It was a letdown because like I would have liked any other song that
Somebody-
wasn't that one.
somebody in the chat said Price hates everything. Where was that?
People say that about me, but it's not true. They simply they don't. I think people don't get me. I mean, sometimes I'm harsh maybe on things, but I do like stuff. I mean, here I like the other songs, so it's not that I don't like anything.
Some people say that, but they're just Swifties.
But by the way, if you're new to this stream or this channel and you like Quantum Leap, we do this every Thursday at 10 p.m. And if you feel like subscribing, you're always welcome to. That would be great. Just a recommendation. And in addition, I also want to kind of help plug whatever is going on with these guys. Ro, what are you working on these days? I'm gonna work on pulling up your channel.
Sure. Last night I just released a new audio Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. I had Scott Rifen and Indiana Jim on as guests, and we talked about all the Indiana Jones movies, our opinions on them, hot takes, favorites, not so favorites. We talked a little bit about all of them. So take a listen. And it was a long episode because when we get Indiana Jones for me is almost like another Star Wars. It's another one of my favorite franchise from Lucasfilm. So we got together. We talked about that for about almost 2 hours. Our episodes are usually like 50 minutes to 60. So we really kind of went to town and lost the track of time. But we had fun talking about all the movies and our kind of our hot takes on that. And it's available wherever you download your other favorite podcasts.
It was good. I listened to it this morning.
Script. First of all, that's cool, and you guys should. I put the link, in the chat here. If you're not already subscribed to Ro's YouTube, you should definitely do that. Script. What's up with you?
Well, what's up with me is that this Saturday, I am hosting my show that Price has been a guest on numerous times called Scripts on Saturdays. This week, we're actually reading a script called Paparazzo, which is about a man trying to link up with a paparazzi agent to help his ailing mother, and then gets entangled in a crazy homicide and involving young celebutantes and all those types of things. So it's like a throwback type of those old mid 90s thriller, conspiracy thriller stories. So I'm hoping it's going to be a good one.
Ro, Tex Rogers is saying that whatever you just said isn't on the YouTube.
No, it's I
Yeah,
usually
I put
Yeah.
up I
just
think it-
Spotify. I don't put these. So we do a lot of editing, and I use Indiana Jones music and clips and stuff like that. When I put it on YouTube, it usually gets a strike. So when I do the we do our live shows on Saturdays, but that's like when we have something to say. More our regular stuff is audio only, and it's a podcast. It's a discussion topics, and that is available on audio podcast apps everywhere.
And Nick, Nick has recently become a member of the Red 5 Network. That's a network of podcasters that Ro co-founded. So I'm going to share your channel here, Nick, just so
Okay.
people.
For those that were asking, I just linked the episode that Ro was talking about, the Indiana Jones episode. So that's one of the things I like about Ro's stuff is he does a lot of editing into that YouTube wouldn't allow. So even though it's just audio, there's a lot going in there. But I'm I've got some podcasts coming out here shortly, and I want to get the Adventures in Locksmithing back up and going. So that should be coming soon.
Nice.
I shared the thing that says Cybersonic. That's Nick's. It's the backyard TARDIS.
Yep.
It's called Cybersonic 8472 for whatever reasons, and
That's how I first met him, as Cybersonic 8472.
He's gone through a number of identities throughout the years, and I'm throwing in one final thing here. This is a channel I used to, from time to time, do on the channel you're on right now. I used to do karaoke from time to time. The only problem is that sometimes when you do karaoke, you later get all these type of claims and things like that because you use songs that you didn't write. And I prefer that if I do that, I prefer to do that on a channel that's sort of disconnected. I don't want any kind of issues. So I have something called Price of Reason Confidential, which I just put the link in. It's called POR Confidential. And if you guys like these kind of either karaoke streams or other stuff that's going to be on there, maybe stuff that I don't really know that's like super out there, if you feel like subscribing to that channel, I just put it in the chat. That is really like an out there type of channel. Maybe not for everybody, but
everybody likes pork.
Right, pork. That's like the
acronym for it. Price of Reason.
Acronym, right? I noticed that. Well, it's better than Price of Reason News.
Yes, it is definitely, although equally addictive.
But all right, so I put that in there if anybody's interested. And I guess at this point, I want to thank everybody. Let me just go and say thank you to people here in the chat. So many great people today, and I just want to acknowledge them. I'm scrolling. There's a lot to scroll.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers himself, usually has actually today was rather quiet at the beginning. Super Mario Brothers 3, who's first, of course. Ron Donofero, who's going to be here next week to talk about the aviation episode because he has a background in that. Tex Rogers, hello. Sorry I talked about Taylor Swift, Tex. I know probably gives you a headache or something.
I should apologize for that. I
Nick,
knew what I was triggering.
Nick knew that he would start saying that and it would annoy me.
13 minutes later.
Bayona Rad, you have Marla Sharondoff, Lisa Katryan, and so many people, but I'm just trying to scroll as fast as I can. I love the interaction here. I love seeing that. Kaiwan Calendar, DJ Play Nice, who says "wee." That's often what he says. Mary White, who just made it, sure did. Mur Rockstra, the Dead Man. Bobnut Skubla, good evening. Matthew McGee and Chrissy, his wife Chrissy. Matthew and Chrissy McGee.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought I saw Tracy Alexander here. She was definitely here. Mary White,
Yes.
I said. And like I said, I like that there's so many conversations, some things that I missed. Storm King. What did you say? Ziggy needs a software update. Maybe iOS 18.
Could be.
And then if I missed somebody, I'm really sorry. I'm going fast. I'm trying to just get all the names. And it's Tracy Alexander here. I saw her. I'm going as fast as I can, guys. You can tell jokes or something like that. I think I got a lot of them. Did I miss anything? Wait, there was something. Frank Guccino. Love It Ever After. Caleb Levine. And yeah, thanks to all the Gooch Raiders. And again, if you feel like it, you're always welcome to subscribe. Not just to my channel, but to these fine gentlemen. I put their channels in the links. And you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I guess on that very positive note, I'm going to find our outro. And I'm going to put it on, and we'll be on our way. So we'll see you next week.
Next time, guys.
Bye.
I'm such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.